So, on today's podcast, with the recent launch of my new book, Breathing Oxygen, How Positive Leadership Gives Life to Winning Cultures, I want to talk about how clarity, vision plus direction, helps improve the sight lines for yourself and everyone around you. It gives oxygen to you and others to actually move forward towards stimulating progress with that vision. Welcome back to The Thermostat with Jason Barger. If you're currently on a commute, a walk, or just a micro break in your day, glad you're making time to step back, to think, and to reflect on the next steps on your journey. I've never been more convinced the best leaders and team cultures in the world are the ones that make time to step back, breathe in good oxygen, and calibrate their thermostat. I hope today's conversation leaves you feeling grounded and inspired. Now let's dive into today's topic to engage our minds and hearts in order to authentically lead and create compelling cultures wherever we are in the world.
Stay tuned at the end of the episode to hear from Jason about his new book, Breathing Oxygen, and a special request he has for his listeners.
Hey everyone, it's Jason, and welcome back to the Thermostat Podcast. We are in Season 6, well over, 130, 140 episodes. I'm losing track at this point, but I guess what I keep being told by others is that's a great thing, and so awesome that people are liking the podcast, that it continues to grow, spread, expand, and most importantly, contribute to people's lives. And also within the teams and organizations that they serve so that we can get better at what we're trying to do, the mission of whatever you are trying to do for your own personal life, but certainly for the team and the organization, the mission that you are serving. So my commitment to you always on this podcast is that this is going to be a place for you to step back, some time for you to just think, for you to be fueled with some positive energy, hopefully to breathe a little energy into you, some oxygen into you so that you can think about your own thermostat, who you're trying to be in the world, how you're trying to show up for the people in your life, for your team, your organization, and family, community, beyond, of course. And so I'm more convinced of this than ever, that we need authentic and positive leaders, not positive in the sense that just everybody just stay positive and don't ever acknowledge the things that we're struggling with or challenging. That's not what I mean by positive leadership. Positive leadership is being able to acknowledge the challenges, the uncertainty, the obstacles we might be facing, and yet still believing and choosing to believe that we can be positive and be optimistic about the future that we are creating together. That's what we do as individuals, as leaders, as in relationships, and then absolutely on every team and organization on the planet. So we need that. We need compelling cultures that bring out the best in each other so that we can be better at what we do, who we are in the world, and that breathe oxygen into us and the people around us. So excited you're back. If you'll do me the quick favor before we launch into today's episode and just rate this podcast, hopefully 5 stars on whatever podcast platform you are listening to this. And absolutely, if you will, leave a positive review. Those are the ways in which the algorithms work and help people find this podcast. So everybody, thank you for anybody that takes the time. Rate it, leave a nice review, and then also anybody that shares this with the people in your network, whether that's social media or email or just passing it around at work. If there are conversations or episodes that would help further your conversations within your teams, your organizations, or colleagues in your life, I appreciate everybody for doing that. That's the way that these things spread and amplify to other people. So thank you. So on today's podcast, with the recent launch of my new book, Breathing Oxygen, How Positive Leadership Gives Life to Winning Cultures, I want to talk about how clarity, vision plus direction, vision plus direction helps improve the sight lines for yourself and everyone around you. It gives oxygen to you and others to actually move forward towards stimulating progress with that vision. But before we dive into that topic, let's take a break. Let's pause for a second, and we'll be right back. If you haven't done so already, we hope you'll visit Amazon or Amplify or jasonvbarger.com to check out Breathing Oxygen, my new book that is all about breathing good oxygen into ourselves and mindsets that fuel ourselves and the teams and the organizations around us. Positive, healthy thinking is as essential to great leadership and building a winning culture as the air we breathe. Leading yourself and a team of people has never been more complicated than it is today. As a leader, every move you make is either breathing life into your organization or slowly killing it. The atmosphere can easily turn toxic with negativity, blame, and doubt poisoning the culture. Just like every being on the planet needs good air to breathe, every organization needs leadership that breathes life into its people to sustain the energy required to complete its mission. Breathing Oxygen focuses on 6 key leadership mindsets that breathe life into any team: clarity, inclusivity, mental agility, grit, rest, and ownership. Join us, read, and share Breathing Oxygen.
Available now from Amplify Books on Amazon and jasonvbarger.com.
First off, on today's podcast, I just want to say thank you again. I know the launch of the new book is still happening even as we speak, but just wanted to say to everybody out there sincerely, thank you. It continues to get such a great response and excitement around it. I think you've heard that it's been a number one new release on Amazon in business and organizational learning and workplace culture. And so excited that it's resonating with people, that the message and the spirit and the content of this book is adding value and contributing to so many people. So thank you to everybody out there who is not only reading it and sharing what it means to you, but also sharing it with other people. That's the way that we will all continue to breathe good oxygen into ourselves and to the people around us. Today we're talking about this idea of clarity. And one of the ways in which we give oxygen to ourselves and to those around us is to help think about, are things clear for us? And can we clear them up for the people around us? And so it was Brene Brown that says, clear is kind, and she often talks about the fact that when we are able to have courageous conversations with people and be clear about what the expectations might be, and also where we've fallen short or where the things we did well. When we're able to be clear with people, it's actually a sign of kindness. That it's clear to somebody to help them see clearly what the expectation might be, and then help support them along the way to meet those expectations. That's actually a form of kindness, and that has really resonated with a lot of people. Is that I'm actually being unkind when things aren't clear. And so not only is clear, kind and being willing to have those conversations, that's great stuff, but clarity itself is kind. And clarity is so important. In a foggy world of uncertainty, of doubt, of worry, all those things that we as humans face, and again, certainly over the last couple of years have been wrestling with, clarity helps give oxygen to ourselves and those around us. It's not only kind to do that, but it's actually necessary for the journey that we're on. Is not only does it just helps us feel better and have a better sense, but it actually is critical to how we're going to perform and where we're going to actually go next, and what do we waste kind of fuel or waste our breath on worry and anxiety and all these things that bring out the worst in us, rather than focusing on, breathing in good air that brings out the best in us. So clarity, vision plus direction is essential, it's critical, and it's also kind to ourselves and to the people around us. When things aren't clear, when people don't have a sense of clarity, when the vision does not have clarity, when we and the people around us aren't sure the direction we're heading and what is needed next, the air gets foggy around us, and humans then often fill it with toxic negativity, worry, anxiety, false narratives. We start making up things and kind of assumptions about things. Oftentimes it leads to blame and gossip, all of those things, because when things aren't clear around us, we seem to then start making up stories and trying to figure out where we are. And that's just human nature. And so very quickly, the air we are feeling and the cloud that is hovering over our entire, team or entire organization starts to feel like doom and gloom. And it actually begins to make it harder to breathe. And so leaders who understand this, and teams and organizations that understand this and are also committed to helping their people breathe better, not only because that's the right thing to do, that's why I hope is the motivation and that's what they're aiming for, is that because it's just the right thing to do is to help their people breathe better and help their people have clarity, but also because there's an ROI on this. There's a return on this investment. There's also because it helps our performance expand. When we have these, we're foggy and uncertain, it stunts our progress and it makes us not as good at whatever it is that we're doing. And so it helps our performance expand when we have this kind of clarity. And so these leaders, these teams, these organizations that realize how critical this is, they need to continuously be in the business of clearing up the vision for the future so that it improves everyone's sight lines and helps them breathe better to take the next steps. So some of the ways in which we help things become more clear. One is the mission of our entire organization, of our team, of our whatever the project is we're working on. Or if you're personalizing this, is your own personal mission or the mission of your relationship that you have with somebody else. Is it clear? And what I mean by mission, again, we all know about mission statements that organizations have. The reason we have those is because the mission is supposed to be, that why are we traveling? What's the why, the kind of purpose behind why we're going, why we're traveling on this mission. The vision, again, whether you're thinking about this for your own personal vision or you're thinking about the vision for your team, your organization, your project, your relationship, what is the vision for where you're trying to head? So not just why are you traveling, but where is it that you're trying to go? And people need to know why we're going, but they also need to know where is it we're trying to go. And it doesn't mean that we have everything figured out for the future. People don't need every I dotted and T crossed 10 years down the road, but they do need to have a sense of direction of where is it that we're aiming for, where is it we're trying to go. And so vision is where is it that we're heading? What is that future vision that we're trying to create that doesn't exist right now? Then values. Once we know why we're going to go and where it is that we're trying to head, the values become how is it that we're committed to traveling? And so again, you may be thinking about this personally for your own life, for your relationships, for the project that you're working on, for the team and organization you serve. What are the values that you want to guide you for not just what you do, but how you show up to do your work or how you show up to your life? And so, again, why are we traveling? What's the mission? The vision, where is it that we're heading? And then the values, what are the things, the pillars, the values that you want to guide how you're going to travel along this vision? The direction you're going to head, how is it that you want to travel together? And then lastly is strategy. This is the what. So if mission's the why, vision's the where, values are the how, strategy is the what. Now lastly, again, and I believe you have to get them in these order, because a lot of people, we naturally as humans and as leaders, we jump quickly to what are we going to go do, and then it doesn't grow out of a real mission or a true vision of where we're trying to head, and also that we're not clear on how we're committed to getting there. So the order of these things are important as well. Strategy becomes based on our mission, the why, our vision, the where, our values, the how. The strategy becomes the what. What are we actually going to go do now because we have clarity around the mission, the vision, and the values? When these are clear for people, it's easier for everyone to breathe. It's easier for everyone to breathe. It allows them to then use their gifts, their talents, their expertise. It's easier for them to make a contribution to help stimulate progress towards that mission, that vision, and they have clarity around the values of how they're going to show up to the relationship or the team or their work in order to accomplish that strategy of what are we going to go do next. This helps them breathe oxygen into their own work when things are clear, and it also brings out the best in each other. It helps them avoid wasting any breath on those false narratives or chasing worries and anxieties because there isn't clarity on the vision and the direction, because they have clarity around mission, why we're going, vision, where are we heading, values, how are we committed to doing this, and strategy, that they give their eyes and their breath to that. They breathe life into that. It doesn't mean they have it all figured out. Every human, every team, every relationship, every organization on the planet doesn't have it all figured out. But when there's clarity on those key elements, it allows them then to take a deep breath and then make the next move in order to stimulate progress closer to that mission and that vision for the future. It gives them direction for where to head. So as always on this podcast, I want to give you a couple of, questions to ponder this week. Is your personal, if you think about it for your own life, is your own personal mission, vision, again, mission, why are you traveling? Vision, where is it you're trying to go? Values, how are you committed to traveling? And strategy, what is it what are you going to do next based on those things? Is your own personal mission, vision, and values and strategy clear? Or for a relationship that you have. My wife Amy and I, we do have a practice every year of stepping back together and making sure that we're clear on these things, and at least have some vision and direction for the type of marriage and the type of relationship and life that we are co-creating together. Is your teams, however you define that, again, do you define that as your spousal relationship, a friendship, the people around you and your family, or are you, again, thinking about this specifically as your team at work, where we spend so much of our days? Is your team or your entire organization, your company, is the mission, the vision, the values, and the strategy clear? And as you step back to think about those, what element of the vision plus direction would be most helpful to clear up for the people on the journey with you? How could you breathe oxygen into this clarity, this vision plus direction? Thank you for listening to today's podcast, and I hope the messages and questions stimulate positive change along your path. As always, if these messages resonate with you and add value to your life, I hope you'll help amplify them throughout the world. Please rate, comment, and share on whatever podcast or social media platform you're using, and share this podcast with the people in your life or work who should be part of these conversations. That way, this spirit does, in fact, spread. If these messages or developing leaders and culture would be helpful to you and your organization, please contact us at jasonvbarger.com, jasonvbarger.com. And remember, we are all ambassadors for the culture we want to create in our life and work. We have to own the vision we want to be a part of. The future of leadership is you, is me, is us. Be a thermostat. Lastly, on today's podcast, I'll just say this, that many of you have reached out and continue to share excitement around Breathing Oxygen, that it's still launching and wondering, hey, how can I still help? Well, there are a couple of quick ways, if you're wondering about that, a couple of quick ways that you can, again, the book launched, technically it's out there and available for anybody, but it is still launching. The launch is never over. So if you authentically want to help, here are some ways you can. You can obviously order the book. Get the book, and I would encourage you to, that helps the launch. So wherever that is, whether Amazon or Amplify or Barnes & Noble or wherever you get books, go get it. And then also, more importantly than that, is read it. I didn't write books just so people would get them. I wrote the book because I want it to resonate with people and impact people and organizations. So read it. That's one of the ways in which you can help the launch, and share what resonates with you. The second part is share it. So just as I just said, if and only if it resonates with you, share it with the people around you. Share it on social media or with your networks, or share it with your team, your colleagues. Gift copies to people if you're in a position to do that. Share it if it's something that's redeeming and worthy of sharing. that's the way anything spreads in the world. So I invite you to share it with other people. And then the third thing that I ask that's really important, and people keep telling me how important this is to leave ratings and reviews on Amazon and wherever it is that you get the book. If you can rate it, hopefully 5 stars, if you can leave a positive, authentic review from you about what your thoughts are about the book, those are the ways in which it helps other people find it and spreads to other people. So thank you to everybody who either, orders it and reads it, shares it with other people, and leaves reviews. Those are the ways you can help with this launch as it continues to reach further into the world. If you have other ideas that you want to share or ideas about sharing it with more people, you can email us directly, info@jasonvbarger.com. Tell us your ideas, and we'll see what we can do to help. Breathe in appreciation and gratitude for all that is within your control. Now is a chance for all of us to kind of breathe in good oxygen in our life and our work and our teams, and give energy to the people around us as we calibrate our own personal thermostat for our own awareness of ourself and thinking about who we want to be and how we want to contribute to the teams and the people around us. We need to use that awareness to kind of breathe oxygen into the habits we form so that we can be the thermostat that we want to be for other people. And we know that once we understand the temperature that we're trying to set as a team or as an organization, like we talk about in thermostat cultures, then we know that we're going to have to keep it going. In order to keep it going, we're going to need to breathe oxygen into ourselves and to the people around us to fuel the mindsets that are going to bring out the best in each other. So I hope you'll keep tuning in to the podcast. The next episode is going to be about a conversation about triangulation and team communication and how the habits we form with the relationships in our culture either breathe oxygen into people or they breathe oxygen into the flames. Remember, the best leaders, teams, and cultures on the planet stimulate progress by recalibrating their thermostat together and then commit to breathing oxygen into themselves and to the people around them. Set the temperature and breathe good oxygen. I wrote Breathing Oxygen because I needed to breathe in good oxygen in my own life, and what I'm finding is that other people needed it too. There continues to be high levels of uncertainty and change and division and angst and so much that seems out of our control. It's challenging for individuals and teams and organizations to navigate their way forward, and it's easy to get sucked into negative and toxic mindsets and actions. We all know there are oxygen givers and oxygen takers in every room and in every organization on the planet. And so leaders and teams need to be deliberate about what is the air that they breathe and the mindsets that they feed. When we breathe in good, healthy mindsets, our performance expands. And when we breathe in toxic and negative mindsets of gossip and blame, our performance deflates. Breathing Oxygen focuses on 6 key mindsets. Mindsets of clarity, of inclusivity, mental agility, grit, rest, and ownership and positive accountability. Positive leadership is about being honest and transparent about the challenges we're facing and still choosing to be optimistic and believing that we can create a better future. Winning cultures doesn't just mean winning the contest or becoming best in class or the best at whatever it is that you do, although I hope and we aim for that too. A winning culture is one that is authentic, where people are aligned around creating a compelling culture together that also produces results. Research and data continues to tell us that people want to be a part of a more meaningful culture, that they want to be a part of something greater than self, that they want to contribute, they want to develop, and they want to share in the creation of a compelling culture. But as I talk about in my book, Thermostat Cultures, it won't just happen magically on its own. We have to lead the change that we want and intentionally set the temperature at all levels of the company, and then breathe oxygen into it to keep it going. We all know that culture shaping never stops. We just have to continuously breathe good oxygen.